Welcome back to a new video where we'll be looking at a different lab. So this is the new, so basically this is the lab we're looking at. Let's zoom it. Okay. To understand the auto switch communication, we have to illustrate it with a small diagram. So what you're going to do is we'll come here and select a switch. I will take the 2960 switch, which is here, and then I will take two pieces or two end devices. I'll look for end devices. Where do I have my end device? This is where I have my end devices. So these are the types of end devices I have. I'll go for this type of laptop. I'll select two. I'll just demonstrate something to you. Okay. Then I will look for a cable. Which cable do I need? I will go for a straight cable. So I'll pick this one. I'll connect. Okay, so all these ports are ports to my switch, so I can pick any of the ports, but it's better to use the fast Ethernet port. So I'll go for the first one. I will select the second one, connect to the second PC as well. Okay, so this small topology is a LAN topology. I can illustrate it over here. LAN network. Okay, this is a LAN network. So now I also need an IP address for these two devices. I'll take 192.168.1.0. So this is a network address. Okay, and then this particular will take 192.168.1.1, and this will take 192.168.1.2. All right. So don't confuse between this particular address and then this. There's a big difference. This is a network address. This is an IP address. All right. So what can we do is I have to assign this address to the PC. This one to this PC. So let me start with this. So what you have to do is just to click on this and then go to desktop, go to IP configuration. All right. So okay, my IP address is 192.168.1.1. By default, it's going to provide the subnet mask. So this is a subnet mask. In my scenario, I don't need a default gateway, so I'm not gonna provide a gateway. I'll do same for this PC. Desktop as well, go to IP configuration and provide an IP address 168.1.2. All right. So now that I've assigned IP addresses to the respective devices, what I have to do is, let me show something. So you click on the switch, then you go to the CLI, which is command line interface. So just click on it, and then we have my interface. So this is the switch command line. Okay. So before I proceed, anytime you power on a switch and you get access to the command line, you land on this mode. This mode is called a user mode. Okay, this is the user mode, and from the user mode I have to move to the privilege mode, which is done by using command enable. So this is the privilege mode. So as a network engineer, you need to know the difference between these different modes. Okay, And from the privilege mode, we have to move to the configure to the global mode by using the command configure terminal. Okay, so this is the global mode. So now what I want to show you is we have to check out something on this particular switch. So I'll reverse one step backward. I will use show MAC address. Okay, so show MAC address table. A switch, an L2 switch, uses what we call MAC addresses. Okay, so the MAC address table is like the phone book where you have all your contacts, and the switch manages the MAC address table, which sometimes is also called the CAM, which is content addressable and memory, content addressable memory, CAM table. In some books, you come across CAM table, which is the same as a MAC address table. So a switch has this space or a storage to manage MAC addresses of all the devices that communicate. So I'm going to show you how this MAC address looks like by issuing the command show MAC address table. In which mode? In the privilege mode. I've not used this command in the global mode, neither the user mode, but I'm in the privilege mode before I've issued this command. All right, so let's validate and see. All right, so now what do we have? We have these two devices. Okay, we have F02 and then F01. So let's look at them. Who is F02? This is F02, which means the MAC address of this particular device is here. This is it. And the MAC address of this device is this. So inside the MAC address table, what do you have? You have a MAC address of the device. You have a type, how the switch has learned these MAC addresses, the ports on which a device is connected to, and we have the VLAN to which the device belongs to. The reason why you have the VLAN 1, because this is the native VLAN, and by default, all ports belong to native VLAN. Let me also show you how you can cross-check that one. Just type show VLAN brief. Okay, so let's look at this. Okay, you can see this is the VLAN table. Okay, whenever you create VLANs, it will be stored over here, and then an ID or a number will be assigned based on what you have also decided. If you create a VLAN 10, you have it VLAN 10, and you can also name it. So it comes with the VLAN numbers in this column, and then here is the name, and then here is about the status. And then these ones are the ports, and you can see all the ports belong to what? To the VLAN 1, which is also active. That's how come you can see the fast 01 and fast 02 with assigned to VLAN 1 because they are part of this native VLAN, right? So this is basically how an L2 manages MAC addresses. So whenever there is a communication, okay, in this particular topology, we have all the information over here. A switch cannot be part of the network, and it has initiated a communication without having the record inside a MAC address table. So this is what the switch an L2 manages. And then the reason why it's called an L2, because the responsibility of an L2 device based on the OSI model is to learn about MAC addresses. So this particular switch understand what is a MAC address, to whom does this one belong to. You get it. So that's basically how it is. no need to assign an IP address on either this interface or this. In fact, even if you try assigning an IP address to any of these interfaces, it's not going to work. So let's try for you to see how it is. I will move to the global and then go for interface F01. Okay, so I'll try to assign an IP address. It's not even given an hub. Okay, let's try IP address. We assign 192.168.1.maybe 3 with the subnet mask. Okay, you can see I have this message which says invalid detected marking. It means that you can't assign an IP address to this particular interface. It's not needed. And then if to assign an IP address, in some exceptional cases, the IP address has to be assigned to a VLAN, which is what in our case is the VLAN 1. All right. So what can I do to assign an IP address to VLAN 1, and in which scenario do I be in constraint of assigning an IP address? Maybe I would like to configure Telnet or SSH. So what I have to do is to assign an IP address so that the IP address will now be an entry point to this device. So to do so is to just use interface VLAN 1. So now this VLAN 1 will now serve as an interface. And don't forget, this VLAN controls all the ports on the switch are assigned to this VLAN. So if I'm able to get access through this VLAN, I have access to all the ports on my switch. So I can try IP address 192.168.1.3. Okay. All right. So now you can see an IP address has been assigned to a VLAN 1. So what can I do is let me show interface VLAN 1. If I type show interface VLAN 1, what do I have? Okay, it says that the VLAN 1 is up, LAN protocol is also up, is providing the MTU. Okay, so the IP address I've assigned over here, so it shows that indeed the IP address has been assigned successfully to this VLAN 1, and I can configure Telnet or SSH, which will later allow me to access to the switch from maybe this device. If I'm here in the Telnet, the switch, I'll now connect to the switch through this my laptop. We'll get to that, some labs where we'll be configuring Telnet and SSH. By the way, if you're interested, you can let me know in the comment section if you'd like us to have a labs on SSH and Telnet for you to know how it is done. So basically with the L2 switch, these are certain things that you have to know, especially the MAC address table, which you have to be able to read. You have to be able to interpret. Okay, so right, very interesting. So you can see now I've issued the command and the MAC address table is empty. All right, very interesting. Some of you may ask, why is the MAC address table empty? It is empty because the records over here are not permanent. So anytime there's a communication between devices, a switch will take a record of it, but then the records on this, inside this MAC address table are not going to be there permanently. They are there for just a short period of time. And within that short period of time, if there's no communication between the devices that have communicated earlier on, a device, which is a switch, will now erase this memory and we'll be expecting other devices to communicate. So right now, let me try something, okay, for you to understand what I'm trying to say is that I'll try to ping from this device to the second one, right? I'll come here, okay, sorry, I'll go to command prompt and then I'll ping this PC, ping 192.168.1.1. The ping is successful. So now let me come to my switch and then initiate the command again. So you can see here we are. The two devices have their record. Which device sent is F01 sent, and then F02 received and responded. So it's like it's a two-way communication. I talk, you respond, you talk, I also respond. In this case, this PC was the one initiated, which is F01 here. You can see is the first, this is the first entry, and then this is the second entry. So let's add another device and then cross-check how the switch is gonna behave. So we add another device here. We connect the device. 03. So look at it very well. In my MAC address table, I only have two entries, which are the devices that communicated earlier on. I'll assign an IP address to this device, okay, 192.168.1.maybe4. Okay, so now this particular device will now try to ping this and see how it goes. So ping 192.168.1.1. Alright, the ping is successful. Let's go to switch. Now, if I initiate the command again, you can see we have F02 and F03. The F01 has disappeared. Why? Because for a particular period of time, this PC has not initiated any communication. So this is actually how it works. All right. So I hope the video has been helpful. Thanks for watching. Let me know in the comment section what you think about the video. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.